Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Terence "Bud" Crawford and what next for him. Obviously he's got the undisputed titles at super middleweight, fought very well at super middleweight, much better than I didn't think anybody was expecting him to at super middleweight. There looked like there was zero drop off from what he would do at welterweight, which is outstanding, astonishing. It shows what an athlete this guy is, and as much as he is one of the best boxing brains in the world, he's got to be up there as one of the best athletes. I mean, it's no easy feat at all to go up 20, 30 pounds in weight and perform as though you're at the same weight as you're used to. So you got to give the guy credit. And it comes to the question now of what next for Terence "Bud" Crawford. Does he stay at super middleweight? Does he fight middleweight? Does he try and go to super welterweight? Does he go light heavyweight? Alright, I don't think that's going to be in it. For me, they asked him about this, I believe, in the press conference, and he spoke about middleweight, and then I saw another interview the day after, and he was sort of saying that he hasn't decided yet, he's got to talk it over with his team. You know, the normal stuff that a fighter says after they've had a fight. For me, I think that middleweight is the next stop for Terence "Bud" Crawford. There is no reason to stay at super middleweight, in my opinion. There's no big fights there. I mean, what are you going to stay around there for? What are you expecting to get done there? There's no big names for you to beat. There's only rising names that could beat you, and you're going to lose credit and take risks for a fight that there's not much reward. Going up to super middleweight and fighting Canelo, it was all basically reward for Crawford. If he won, you've beaten one of the best super middleweighters. If you lose, well, you've always got the excuse of, well, I wasn't in my weight division. Now, sitting there with all the belts, you've got basically 3 or 4 options: Shiraz, Pacheco, and Bealey. Do you really want to take any of those fights? Probably not. They're not going to make you the money that you want, and they're probably much bigger risks than they are rewards. He's not going to get any credit for beating Hamza Shiraz. He's not going to get any credit for beating Christian and Bealey. Let's be honest, he's not going to get that credit. For me, middleweight is the best option, and there's a few reasons I say that. Number one, it's another division to conquer. If you can add some belts from middleweight, never mind trying to get undisputed at middleweight. Let's just start with becoming a champion at middleweight. We're talking about Terence Crawford now, a champion in 5 weight divisions: lightweight, super lightweight, undisputed welterweight, interim super welterweight, undisputed super middleweight, and maybe a champion at middleweight. You know, he could become that many different weight classes as a champion. And to be honest, depending on how long he wants to fight for, there is an opportunity there to try and take them all. And I'll walk you through how I believe this is going to happen. But let's look at the middleweight division right now. In my opinion, the worst division in the world of boxing. It is horrible. That is just dreadful. That cruiserweight isn't great either. Jaya Pataya and Zerto basically run that division. Everybody else in there is pretty mediocre, in my opinion. Welterweight is a bit shit at the moment as well. But I think middleweight it's outstandingly awful. It is shit. The champions aren't fighting. There's nobody for them really to fight. And I'm going to run you through a few names, because realistically, outside of these names, can any of you tell me someone that is a good contender in middleweight? Yanibek Alimkhanuly, Erislandy Lara, Carlos Adames, Chris Eubank Jr. Oh wait, anybody give me a name of someone that is either put up here high in the media and is loved by people, or is an outstanding fighter? I can't see anyone. Maybe regionally you can make the argument. Like, I look at the top 15 rankings and I see Matteo Tapia and Michael Zarafa, 2 Aussies there, which I love seeing. I even asked Michael Zarafa about his opportunity to go for a title. But outstand of maybe liking someone because they're from your nation, there's no real outstanding fighter. There's no fighter there that I say that is an elite world level fighter that I think is going to really become a great middleweight fighter. And that speaks to what Terence Crawford will be able to do. He can take his undisputed titles, right? hand him back in and say, I'm going to middleweight, he can get any fight he wants because he's there with the Ring magazine. I'm sure Turki Al-Sheikh will put enough money into whatever Mr. Terence Crawford wants to do. And for me, the fight that I would be pushing for, it wouldn't be Chris Eubank Jr. because he's got no belts. He's got Conor Benn coming up. Don't worry about that. You've got Carlos Adames, has been part of a Riyadh season. Got that draw with Hamza Shiraz. I think Terence Crawford can beat Carlos Adames. I thought Hamza Shiraz should have been able to beat Carlos Adames. Obviously, Adames fought very, very well on the night. I want to take nothing away from him. Hamza Shiraz also looks more comfortable upper weight division. Erislandy Lara, I can't remember the last time Erislandy Lara fought. Has he fought this year? I know he fought Michael Zarafa last year. Did he fight Garcia at the end of last year? Maybe. I honestly can't remember. And this year, I don't think Erislandy Lara's fought. He's 40-something years old now. For me, light work for Terence Crawford if Erislandy Lara ever actually fights again. I'm not sure, like I said, what is going on in that camp. Why is he not fighting? Why have I not even heard names? Is it simply the fact of there's no one really in the division for Erislandy Lara to fight, which, to be honest, there is a case for, because like I said, it's awful. And Yanibek Alim Kanali, we last saw him fight Ngama Singway, right? And nobody really knew who Ngama Singway was coming into that fight. Yanibek Alim Kanali is by far, in my opinion, the best fighter in that division. Right, I think Alim Kanali's the best. I think Carlos Adames offers a lot. I think Erislandy Lara is at the end of his career. And I think Chris Eubank Jr. also at the end of his career and taking money fights. So you're looking at Yanibek Alim Kanali, the WBO champion, and Yanibek Alim Kanali is WBO and IBF. Carlos Adames is WBC. And Erislandy Lara is WBA, but Yanibek Alim Kanali is number one with ring, but isn't actually the ring champion. There is no ring champion. So you take a fight with Alim Kanali with Riyadh, all of a sudden you've got the WBO, the IBF, and the Ring magazine belt all up for grabs. I think it'd be a tough fight for Terence Crawford, but I think we've all seen that Terence Crawford is better than any other man. And all of a sudden, you're at middleweight with 3 belts. Erislandy Lara sitting there doing nothing, could vacate, right? If he doesn't find a fight or decides to retire. And you've got Carlos Adames, who hasn't fought since drawing with Hamza Shiraz. And to be honest, another person that's fought on a Riyadh season card, I can see a way in which, with Turki Al-Sheikh and Terence Crawford moving to middleweight, dominating this division. Making light work of it and becoming another weight division champion. Look, the question is, how many more fights does Terence Crawford want? Is middleweight what he wants? I don't see him getting back down to super welterweight. I don't know. I think middleweight is a great division to fight in, unless you can see a big money fight somewhere else. And I don't see a big money fight at super middleweight. The middleweight fights aren't super fights, but they're belt fights. Light heavyweight, there are super fights. The name that keeps going around is David Benavidez. It's just another weight jump. It's another division higher. I feel like at some point it will break Terence Crawford. At what point that is, who knows? Because that was supposed to be super middleweight and the guy made it look easy work. Can I just say one last thing before we wrap up this video, and that is on Terence Bud Crawford, because never mind what he's going to do next and what he's done, I just want to say I've loved the way in which Terence Crawford has been appreciated after this win. We all knew that he was going to get a lot of credit for beating Canelo Alvarez, but I think he's become a universally liked character, both inside and outside of the ring from this fight. I think he's gotten lots and lots of good exposure. I think the Netflix build-up talking about Terence Crawford, Terence Crawford's upbringing, Terence Crawford's life, Terence Crawford's family, his achievements, and his team has made him to become a very likable character. And with the viewership, 41 million people on pay-per-view, 70,000 in the stadium, great numbers, massive payday for Terence Crawford, becomes another champion, rises to number 1 in the rings, pound for pound status. No doubtably, that's what he deserves. He's become a likable character, and I feel like no matter what step Terence Bud Crawford's going to take next, I think he's going to have another large amount of people backing him and supporting him, and a large influx of fans for whatever he decides to do next. And what I mean by that is, if it's a pay-per-view card, I'm expecting more people to sit and buy and watch that. I'm talking stadiums filling up to see Terence Bud Crawford. I feel like he's become a likable character, somebody that people are getting behind, and people are really, really starting to become a fanfare behind because of how great he is actually becoming. And at 37 years old, I don't know how many fights Terence Bud Crawford's got left, and you don't want to miss out watching this guy fight because he is absolutely outstanding. So I just wanted to say that because Terence Bud Crawford has struggled throughout his whole career to get viewership, to get fans, to get people behind him, and to allow him to get the big fights. And although all of that has happened, he's still become 3-weight division undisputed champion, 5-division champion, pound for pound #1, undefeated 42-0, beating Errol Spence Jr., beating Canelo Alvarez, beating the whole list of people, and I think it's amazing. And I think for me, middleweight is next for Terence Bud Crawford. I'm going to make a video either today or tomorrow. I've been trying to film everything on one day, but just because of work things, I can't film every single day, so I like to make a catalogue of videos one day, and if the news is too old, I won't upload the video. But I'm going to try today or tomorrow to make a Canelo Alvarez video and what we're going to think about doing with him next. But in terms of Terence Bud Crawford, definitely jump in the comments. Let me know what you think is next for Bud Crawford, or what you want to see Bud Crawford do. Might be ridiculous, it might be doable, I don't really care. Chuck it in the comments, let us know. Like, subscribe if you're new. We're so close to 150 subscribers. I'd love to get there by the end of this month. It would be absolutely amazing. And I'm out of here, guys. See ya.